It was another quiet night at the office. No phone calls, no messages, nothing but junk mail and overdue bills to keep me company. Seems nobody wants to hire a real private dick anymore, a professional like me. A guy who does the detective work nobody else wants to do. A guy who wears hats and walks around in a black and white world. I began contemplating a more profitable line of work, like politics. We are the show! You want to know? It's time to talk to Joe.
All right, folks, good afternoon and welcome to the Thursday afternoon edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show here on AM 830 WCRN. I am Joe Mangiacotti, and you can join the conversation for the next hour at 508-871-7000, 508-871-7000. Of course, our text line is up and running at 617-297-8388, 617-297-8388. I want to thank Peter Blute for sitting in for me yesterday. I appreciate that greatly. What a day. He lucked out. He got the day after Trump's first joint speech here, their speech to the joint session. Good on you, Pete. I'm a little jealous, but we're going to talk about that a little bit. We'll cover it. Just some housekeeping. You can, of course, listen to the station by tuning into AM 830 WCRN, massive footprint. We also broadcast 24/7 on the TuneIn app, which is a streaming app where thousands of radio stations stream. Just punch in WCRN. You're going to see our cool logo there. Hit it. We know you're there. We're easy to find. Also, always check out our replay links, right? So if you miss a show earlier in that day, earlier in that week, earlier in that month, you go to WCRN, hit the play link. Now, you can do that by host or by the time, and then just simply it'll populate a page. You can even download it to an MP3 file if you want to listen to it on the device later on. All right, I am streaming my show on my social media platforms, Joe Mangi Show, MANGI, X, Facebook, Twitch TV, LinkedIn profile, and we are doing it on the Rumble app in real time. So if you go to Rumble and the Joe Mangiacotti Show, bang, there we are. Today, behind the glass and back at HQ, there he goes. He'll get you set up and into the studio for two-way talk and conversation. I'm broadcasting from the Cameo studios today. So again, you can join us on Facebook, X, Twitch TV, Rumble, LinkedIn profile. It's all there. And we've got a packed show for you today, folks. A lot to talk about. Yes, Peter got to talk yesterday. I'm going to touch on it. I'm going to be joined by George Landreth, president of Frontiers of Freedom Institute out of D.C., where I'm a senior fellow at, to talk a little bit about the speech and what that means and the things connected to it. The news cycle has been spinning out of control this week, right? I know you're all fired up about it because I sure am. So we're going to get into it. We've got a packed show for you, a lot to talk about. President Trump delivered that first big speech to Congress since being reelected. And it's not the State of the Union at this point. It's State of the Union-like. But it was, as expected, folks, right? It was strong, clear, America First message. He laid out his vision for tackling illegal immigration, fixing the economy, cleaning up government waste, the things that matter to the American people. And what happened, predictably, the left had a meltdown. Now, I want to start with one of the most disgusting moments of the night, and I don't use that word lightly at all. But during his speech, President Trump took a moment to honor DJ Daniel. Now, DJ is a 13-year-old boy from Texas. He actually lives in Al Green's, Representative Al Green's district. We'll circle back to that. So this boy is from Texas. He has spent most of his young life battling brain cancer. He's had 13 brain surgeries. Think about that. He's had a brain surgery for every year he's been alive and on this planet. And he was given just 5 months to live back in 2018. But he fought. He survived. Now, he's been traveling the country getting, basically, sworn in on as law enforcement, right? So different police stations, sheriff's departments, things of that, swearing him in, make him an honorary law enforcement officer. It's like Make-A-Wish on steroids here, right? Well, Tuesday night, Trump surprised DJ by making him an honorary Secret Service agent. The look on the boy's face, priceless. Right? If that didn't emotionally get you at all, I don't know what would, but it was pure joy. And it was one of the most, now it was one of those moments that should have transcended politics, absolutely. A moment where everyone, no matter their party, should have stood up, clapped, celebrated this kid's fight, his courage, his love for country. But guess what? The Democrats couldn't even muster that. They sat there stone-faced, you got it, man, arms crossed, pouting like children. Because apparently even honoring a kid who beat cancer is too much. If Trump is the one highlighting him, if Trump is the one doing this, connected to it at all, it's too much. Trump might look humanized. And then to make it even worse, we had the media elites, Rachel Maddow, Nicole Wallace, turning it into some disgusting political commentary. Wallace actually suggested that she hopes DJ never has to face Trump supporters if he becomes a cop. Are you kidding me? Or that he succumbs to suicide because of being a police officer, and she tried to link it to the J6 situation. So this is the same media that tells us we're the extremists, we're the problem. You're going to give me a break here, guys. Come on. Well, that wasn't the only chaos that night. Democrats made sure to put on a show, right? Right out of the gate, Representative Al Green. Ah, there we go. Al Green, who is the congressman from DJ's district. Yes, the same Al Green who has spent years trying to impeach Trump. He actually filed impeachment papers before Trump was sworn in on the first presidency. What the heck? He stood up waving his cane, started shouting at the president right in the middle of Trump's speech, yelling about how Trump has no mandate, which, first of all, Al, yes, he does. By any definition, he has a mandate. Popular vote, electoral vote, blew it out of the water. He controls all branches of government. No, he doesn't. I shouldn't say that. He has the House, he has the Senate, 2 chambers of Congress, the White House, and arguably majority of conservatives on SCOTUS. All right. So he does have a mandate. So I got news for you, Congressman. He does. That's why he's standing at the podium, and you're the one getting dragged out of the chamber by the sergeant at arms. And he's saying this in connection to Medicaid, which makes no sense whatsoever. I don't know how many times Trump can reiterate that Medicaid and Social Security will be preserved. And looking at the waste and fraud for Social Security and Medicaid is not attacking those things. It's cleaning them up. It's ensuring their survival. If you've ever listened to my show on this topic, you know where I stand on that. That money in Social Security is fiduciary money, not tax money, and should never been allowed to be raided by Congress to balance the budget, Bill Clinton. And all the money ever borrowed from Social Security needs to be returned with the interest that it would have made in the years it's been stolen out of Social Security. And only Social Security recipients and SSDI should be able to draw on that, not SSI and not other welfare programs. That includes illegals who have never paid into the system because they did not grow up here, they did not work here, they did not pay into the system. That is a welfare program, and it should come out of tax money. And the icing on the cake, the Democrats, 10 of them actually, voted with Republicans to censure Al Green for his behavior today. Now that tells you something. When even members of your own party say, yeah, that guy's embarrassing, you know you've crossed the line. But instead of taking their medicine, the rest of the Democrats, they doubled down, started singing "We Shall Overcome" on the House floor, and completely shut down Congress. Folks, these are not serious people. These are children. And they're censuring Al Green for disrupting the business of Congress. And what do they do during the censure? They disrupt the business of Congress. Would that be an insurrection? Meanwhile, the American people were watching, and guess what? They approved of Trump's message. A CNN poll Yeah, I'm going to say that again. CNN found that 69% of Americans who watched the speech had a positive reaction. Now, that's not a small number, folks. It's a pretty good or significant number in your favor. That's nearly 70% of the country saying, yeah, we like what we're hearing. And yet the Democrats think throwing tantrums on national television is winning strategy. Good luck with that, guys. And good luck in 2026 with that. They keep taking the 20% position in all these issues. Trump continues to stay in that 80% where the common sense is. And that's damn right. It's the Trump train. It's just going to keep going on that. So where do we go from here? That's what we're going to break down today. Joining me live is a guy who knows his stuff inside and out and is in the D.C. area, has been for years, George Landreth, president of Frontiers of Freedom Institute. George has been fighting for conservative principles for decades, and he's going to help us unpack what's coming next in Trump's second term, what battles are ahead, and why the Democrats are completely losing their grip here. So I want to hear from you. Were you watching Tuesday night? What was your reaction to Trump's speech? Did the Democrats' behavior disgust you as much as it did me? Give me a call. We're going to get into it all right here, right now on the Joe Mangiacotti Show. And that's at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. Mark, we can jump you on. We got about a minute. If we have to hold you through the break, we can do that. So let's go to the phone. Mike, what say you?
Did you see the grilling? I'll preface this by saying I was listening to the morning drive out of Boston this morning on RKO. Because I can't stand a guy in the morning that's local, both of them. So anyways, I'm listening to that, and the people are calling in. You know what they're calling Michelle Wu?
Tell me, please.
Saint Wu. They're all calling her Saint Wu. Saint Wu.
Yeah.
You know, with the crucifix emblazoned on the forehead. Yeah. So that's her new nickname, Saint Wu. I want to ask what do they have, a new cardinal here in Boston?
I don't know, Mark, to tell you the truth.
He's Gonzo, right? The other guy there.
We got to go.
Yeah, I would think so. But I got to hold you there because I'm against the clock. Thank you for the call, Mark. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break here. First break on the Thursday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. Back with George Landreth on the other side. Stick with me. Back in 2 and 10.
Looking for guidance as you face a future on Social Security? It's hard to figure out on your own. The MedicareAdvisors.com is a completely independent insurance agency specializing in Medicare insurance planning. We work with the top insurance companies so we can offer our clients the best coverage for them. We design plans with a focus on low costs, which we combine with personalized insurance advice aimed at helping our clients make better informed decisions. Russ Swallow is a certified senior advisor and a licensed insurance advisor. He's been helping clients with their health insurance needs since 1970. And after a failed attempt at retirement, he created the Medicare Advisors in 2014. Russ concluded that since Medicare is health insurance, he might as well put his almost 50 years of health insurance experience to good use, as 75,000 people reach age 65 in Massachusetts every year, and they can use some help. Call Russ today at 508-831-0805. Put his years of personal experience to work for you as you try to unravel the complexities of Social Security.
Polar Park is the place to play, so treat yourself to a private suite at the best ballpark in AAA. Suite rentals are the best way to enjoy a fully catered and climate-controlled experience at the park. Whether you choose to watch the game from inside of the suite or out in your seats, it's the ultimate experience for a special occasion. Visit WooSox.com or call 508-500-8888 to reserve your suite today.
Looking for a fitness experience that's more than just a gym? Welcome to Atlantic Athletics. Our coach-guided approach ensures that you move safely while you train. Personalized nutrition advice and 5-star ratings on Facebook, Yelp, and Google set us apart. Located in Leicester, Massachusetts, we invite you to a free, no-obligation assessment. Call 508-892-8085. Atlantic Athletics, where you're not just a member, you're family. Let's become the best version of you together.
All right, folks, welcome back to the second segment of the Thursday afternoon edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show here on AM 830 WCRN Radio Central. I'm Joe Mangiacotti, and you can join the conversation for the remainder of the hour at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. And, of course, our text line is running at 617-297-8388. And that appears on the screen here in real time in the studio, and we try to work it into the conversation. So I promise. So let me introduce and bring into the conversation George Landreth, president of Frontiers of Freedom Institute, and my boss there. Hey, George, thank you for taking time out and joining us today.
My pleasure to be here. It's great to be on the show with you.
So I got to ask you, man, because we haven't really talked about it, but did you watch? I'm assuming you watched the speech Tuesday night.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Well, Trump delivered his first major speech to Congress in his second term. It was a moment, I would think, right? The man walked into that chamber, laid it out bold, unapologetic America First vision for the next 4 years. And what did American people think? Well, if you believe CNN's poll, yes, CNN, the vast majority approved of it. But of course, Democrats couldn't help themselves. They had to turn it into a circus. So, George, what's your overall take of watching it? And we'll get into the aftermath, but while you were watching the speech, what were you thinking?
Well, I think you make a very good point, which was that there was this kind of, there's a distinction between, say, the American public, and which included, obviously, when 75 or more % of the American public was impressed by the speech, liked the speech, found it hopeful and inspiring. That means a ton of Democrats liked it. Obviously, those are different than the elected Democrats in Congress, who are all basically a bunch of leftists. There's nobody there that's actually a rational, reasonable person. For example, not one of them last week was willing to vote to protect women's sports and protect women in their privacy in locker rooms or bathrooms. So that lets you know kind of how crazy they are. But I think his speech was really very, very powerful because it demonstrated and reaffirmed a commitment to restoring America's greatness. And he, for example, pointed out a lot of the things that he's done right out of the block to get that done, and many of the other things that he wanted to get done legislatively to promote that. So I think that's a pretty, just a really good message. And I think Americans were listening to it and it's kind of going, yeah. And they were in their living room shaking their heads going, yeah, that's great. And of course, the Democrats in the seats were sitting on their hands, sometimes holding up signs saying stupid things. Or if you're...
What was with those paddles? Yeah. First of all, they were often, we were getting the back view. So they had the paddle face forward. So you didn't see what it said. But it seems like that kind of thing. And I get okay, let's all wear the same color to represent whatever. I don't really have a problem with that, whatever you want to do. The paddle stuff and some of the other stuff like the whiteboard or signs, this isn't normal. Yes, this isn't normal, but not for the reason you think, lady. And so you have to wonder, you're thinking, that's just kind of, to me, below the decorum of the House of Representatives or a joint session of Congress, more accurately.
And then, of course, you have Al Green, who was clearly shaking a cane at the president and yelling at him and so forth. And,
as a guy who uses a cane, I can tell you they are great to make a point. good accessory sometimes, but not in a threatening way or negative way.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It would be best not to, behave like that. But, an example is he talked about border security, and I think he made a very good point. The left was telling us all throughout the election cycle that Donald Trump was the reason why the border was the way it was, because he opposed a bill in Congress that would have fixed everything. And of course, they, tried to blame him and act like it wasn't something, that Joe Biden would fix this if Congress would let him. And of course,
hasn't President, sorry to interrupt, George, hasn't President Trump just proved we didn't need Congress, we didn't need a bill, we needed a new president?
Exactly. He's proven that beyond any reasonable doubt. That's exactly the point, is that whole line that they needed a new statute on the books was just a lie. It was just a way of dodging responsibility for what Biden had done for 4 years. And that was proven. And then, of course, he talked about energy independence. And that's important for economic reasons and national security reasons. So it's a win-win. And then, of course, it will also weaken, if we become a major force in the world with energy, it will weaken some of the world's bad actors. An example would be Russia and Iran. Because if we can, for example, drive the price down for oil, and that not only helps our economy and economies around the world, but it hurts their economies because they don't have anything to offer the world except for basically oil. And then what do they do with their profits? They fund violence, terrorism, and other problems all over the world. So I see a lot of really good coming out of that as well.
Yeah, some of these talking heads, like I said, CNN, and of course, The View always has some weird take on everything that he does and what's going on. But shouldn't we, if you're a reasonable, prudent person, and I'm talking about a big conservative or far right, just a middle of the road, independent, common sense person, say, based on his first term and everything that the Democrats have done to this guy, maybe we should give the benefit of the doubt and see what's going to happen, because everything he's kind of done before eventually has worked out. And, then he got hit with the pandemic, once in a century thing. But other than that, he turned an economy at 1.4% inflation rate over. It was very strong. And they're talking, George, like he's been in for 40 days now and prices haven't gone down. Well, they're not going to go down to pre-Biden prices or first Trump term prices in a month, but the policies he's putting in will get us there, or it certainly will get us close to it. It's going to, and again, we're back to the key of this, right, is energy. If we can get the energy, if we can control and be dominant in the energy industry on the globe, look what's happening, right? Germany, they're sending money, not as much as we do, to Ukraine, but then they turn around and they buy all their energy from Putin. I mean,
they're spending a lot more
from us because Biden shut our production, even though we were, and this is the thing that get thrown at me, right? Oh, well, our production went up. Remember, the production increased under Biden because of all of the leases and things Trump did in the first term, because it takes time for all that to kick in. These oil companies aren't going to drop $1 billion, $2 billion in the research and building rigs and setting this up if they're going to get the carpet pulled out under them in the middle of the term. So anyway, the point is, Germany and in Europe could be buying their energy from the United States, and will be, I think, within the 18 months to 2 years.
Yeah. And that'll be much better for the world. It'll be better for the United States as well, because it'll promote American economy and jobs. But the reality is, we don't, like, if you look at the history of Putin basically cuts off natural gas to Europe when he's trying to essentially force them to comply with his wishes.
Yeah. And Trump warned, remember, was it Merkel who laughed at Trump when he said something in fact, hey guys, you're gonna be held hostage. You're gonna be buying your oil. He can shut it off at any time. And they just laughed at him. And I don't know why they thought that was funny. Hey folks, you're listening to the Joe Mangiacotti Show in AM 830 WCRN. You can join the conversation at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. Joining me in the virtual studio is George Landreth, who's president of Frontiers of Freedom Institute in DC. And George, you've been there since 90s, right? How long you been the president? You came in under Senator Wallop.
In the late 90s, yeah. Senator Wallop brought me in shortly after the founding of the organization, and yeah, so I've been here a long time.
Yeah, fantastic.
You can tell by looking at my face, I've been around a long time.
Yeah, we have their face for radio, as they say. And of course, you can hear me, Tom Donaldson, and Dr. Larry. He's back on the scene, thank goodness, on the weekly report, which does air, the audio airs weekends here in AM 830 WCRN, but it also is on Twitch TV, the AUN TV network, which we're now merging in an agreement there, as well as, of course, at ff.org and the Rumble channel for Twitch TV, and the weekly report, which is easy to do, right? theweeklyreport.online. Bring you right to the Rumble channel, and you can watch all the shows there as well. So in closing on this, coming out of it, even with all the spinning and so forth, is this going to result in a bump up for Trump? And is it just is the veil been lifted on the Democrats spinning and gaslighting they've been doing for years?
I think so. I think even it was Senator Fetterman who pointed out that basically this whole charade was making Donald Trump look far more presidential, making him look far more reasonable, and that they were. I think he referred to them as being the kind of annoying car alarms that go off so often you eventually just start ignoring them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I thought to myself,
I'm
sure that I don't agree with his voting record, but he was right about that.
He was right about that. And it was interesting because I was watching this and I see Mike Johnson do the couple warnings. And before he ordered the sergeant at arms, I'm like, is he actually going to kick a member of Congress out of a joint session? Is that because I believe this is the first time that's ever happened. Historically, you might know better than me.
No, I think you're right. I think it is the first time. I don't recall that's happened in the past, at least not at a presidential address. But it was interesting because, to be honest, he got him several warnings and said, decorum, let's follow the rules. And what was interesting was, I think even Hakeem Jeffries had encouraged his members of his
to behave,
to behave themselves and so forth. And most of them behaved, at least in terms of not shouting throughout the whole thing. And they not everyone was acting like Al Green, but they still kind of behaved in a way that was very revealing of how extreme they are and how kind of nutty they are. And
it's just interesting to watch Trump, because Trump, I think he did. Yeah, I'll agree with the term he acted presidentially. Kind of just lean back a little bit, let Mike Johnson as speaker gavel it in and order the sergeant of arms. But there had to be a little bit of satisfaction because this Jamoke is the guy who brought like 3 impeachment motions, right? Including one before he got sworn in as president. He filed an impeachment. So how do you impeach a president who hasn't even experienced presidential powers yet? It was crazy. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. All right, we're against the clock, George. Thanks for popping on today. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you shortly because we'll be doing the weekly report in not too long from now. Thank you, George. All right, folks, we're coming up to our mid-show break here in the Thursday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. You can join the conversation at 508-871-7000. 508-871-7000. Stick with me. Back in 2 and 10.
Time now for the forecast from the Boston Independence Group Weather Center. Call Jerry Doherty today.
I'll talk a little bit, even though this is going out, it'll be part. So a sneak peek to everybody watching this on streaming or Twitch TV. You can listen to George and I on the break. George, thanks for stopping in. So we're doing 3 o'clock?
Yes. Yeah, 3 o'clock is the time.
All right. We may have to refresh or update some of the topics given some things happening, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll see you at 3, and thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Talk to you
Always
later.
good to be with you. Take care.
All right. Bye.
I'm meteorologist Sherry Spear, and you can hear Boston 25 live for the morning drive weekdays on AM 830 WCRN.
More live and local radio is next. Stay tuned to Radio Central 830 WCRN.
Looking for guidance as you face a future on Social Security? It's hard to figure out on your own. The MedicareAdvisors.com is a completely independent insurance agency specializing in Medicare insurance planning. We work with the top insurance companies so we can offer our clients the best coverage for them. We design plans with a focus on low costs, which we combine with personalized insurance advice aimed at helping our clients make better informed decisions. Russ Swallow is a certified senior advisor and a licensed insurance advisor. He's been helping clients with their health insurance needs since 1970. And after a failed attempt at retirement, he created the Medicare Advisors in 2014. Russ concluded that since Medicare is health insurance, he might as well put his almost 50 years of health insurance experience to good use, as 75,000 people reach age 65 in Massachusetts every year, and they can use some help. Call Russ today at 508-831-0805. Put his years of personal experience to work for you as you try to unravel the complexities of Social Security.
All right, folks, welcome back to the second half of the Thursday afternoon edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. You can join the conversation for the remainder of the hour at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. Again, I want to thank George for stopping in and joining us for a segment here. And like I said, you can join me, George, Tom Donaldson, for the weekly report every week. I think Saturdays at 1, Sundays at 2 for the weekly report audio. Or you can go to Torch TV and watch it there, which is part now of the the AUN TV network. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Let me go to the phones. Dan has been waiting patiently. Hey, Dan, what's up?
Yeah, I was calling today because I'm not too happy with the Supreme Court 5-4 striking down bid to cancel the $2 billion USAID money. So it looks like Amy Coney Barrett voted with and John Roberts voted with the liberal judges again. The problem I have with this is it's not the first time she does this, and I knew going into it. Yeah, Trump was. People gonna realize it's always the Senate Majority Leader. You're at that person's mercy, because if you really want a really, really good judge, he's gonna try to scrap you with it. Mitch McConnell wasn't gonna give him a good judge. It's just the fact. I mean, the guy was gonna try to help him out. But the problem here is Jesse Barrett is a lawyer for Fox Corp, and Cox Communications. Okay, so we know that Rupert Murdoch, the globalist, owns it, and then you got Paul Ryan runs Fox News, and then you got the two dirty lobbyists and super PAC donors, Kyle Rove and Harry Fleischer, who are lead contributors at Fox Corp. They're also consultants at Cox Communications and Viacom. So they're interconnected there. We know that. We know they're friends. On top of it, Jesse Barrett was a lawyer at Chuck Schumer's brother law firm in Washington, D.C. So Robert Schumer and Paul Weiss, okay? And who's some of their clients? The Clintons, Harry Fleischer, and Karl Rove. So you see the connection there? So this is the deep state here.
It is so incestuous, Dan, right? All over the place. The lawyers and who they represent in the client base, the media people, producers, on-air talent, then mixed in with cabinet members and directors or heads of agencies. I think this is all part of when we refer to the swamp or the bubble or the beltway. We're talking about this incestuous, overlapping, conflicting interests all the time, and then you have to say, well, where the hell is the ethics commissions and all this? And of course we can't expect the media, because they've never done it. Mainstream media, that is that they've never actually police themselves, right? They won't do the reporting. They won't do the hey, by the way, did you know there's kind of a conflict of interest because this person is actually related to this person in this way. So that's constantly happening, Dan.
Yeah. It's just like everybody, Trump was talking about the Logan Act with Zelensky the other day with Chris Murphy, but I guarantee you, Obama was involved, Blinken was involved, Victoria Nuland was involved, Susan Rice was involved, Alex Vindman was involved, Ron McClain. These people are in the, it's no reason why Obama has a mansion in Washington, D.C. He's there. He's quarterbacking things. He's in his pajamas trying to muddy up the waters as much as he can. You know, this guy's got to be,
Yeah, I don't know what he's up to. Is it 4 or 3 or 4 houses? Because he's got the Martha's Vineyard. No, 4. He's got Martha's Vineyard, Hawaii, Washington, D.C., and Chicago that we know of. So there's 4 multi-million-dollar homes. Not bad.
Yeah.
On a
And
senator's
then,
salary and then a presidential salary. Not bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, didn't he have some ridiculous $20 million Netflix deal or something like that? I mean, he's made legitimate money because of being president.
Well, that's how they make money is by buying through USAID. They write a book, and then they use the USAID money to buy the book. Yeah. That's what's been going on. I've heard other talk show hosts talk about it, how they would use USAID money to buy the book. And because people say, Obama made his money selling books. For every one book he has at the bookstore, Trump has friggin' 30 books at the store. And he's not making hundreds of millions off a book.
Yeah.
So it doesn't hold any water here.
You got it. Dan, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Always a good call. All right, folks, 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. That's 508-871-7000. Get you into the studio for two-way talk and conversation. I do want to, circle back a little bit here. See, you know, right, just how bitter and broken the modern Democratic Party has become. Because during Trump's speech, specifically how these so-called leaders couldn't even bring themselves to stand or clap for that young boy, DJ Jano, who's been battling cancer since he was 5 years old. This moment should have been above politics, but they showed their true colors. Diagnosed in 2018, 13 surgery. He has been sworn in as an honorary officer over 900 law enforcement agencies throughout the country. So making him honorary Secret Service agent might have been the pinnacle here, so we'll do that shortly. Stick with us.
The best coverage for them. We design plans with a focus on low costs, which we combine with personalized insurance advice aimed at helping our clients make better informed decisions. Russ Swallow is a certified senior advisor and a licensed insurance advisor. He's been helping clients with their health insurance needs since 1970. And after a failed attempt at retirement, he created the Medicare Advisors in 2014. Russ concluded that since Medicare is health insurance, he might as well put his almost 50 years of health insurance experience to good use, as 75,000 people reach age 65 in Massachusetts every year, and they can use some help. Call Russ today at 508-831-0805. Put his years of personal experience to work for you as you try to unravel the complexities of Social Security.
This is Jerry Doherty, host of Making Money Last, right here on WCRN. Like all business owners, I'm interested in why people choose to work with Boston Independence Group. So I asked my clients. The most common response, Jerry does not try to be all things to all people. Boston Independence Group is specialized, focused solely on retirement planning. My customers enjoy the difference. We do one thing, and we do it exceptionally well. Help other people live better in retirement. That's it. If you're ready to retire or making plans to retire, we can do for you what we've done for hundreds of other retirees throughout New England. Live better in retirement. Just give me a call. I'll show you how. My toll-free number is 877-772-1776. Again, that number is 877-772-1776. And you can visit us on the web at bostonindependencegroup.com. bostonindependencegroup.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to the fourth and final segment here on AM 830 WCRN. I'm Joe Mangiacotti. You can join the conversation for the remainder of the hour at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. Don't forget, when I'm on, I stream it to my social media platforms at Joe Mangi Show, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, Twitch TV, LinkedIn profile, and live to the Rumble channel as well. So you can check that out there. And the show is actually turned into a podcast and distributed wherever you get your podcasts. So Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Google Play, etc. You can do that there. 508-871-7000. Let's go to the phones. Ken's been waiting patiently. Hey, Ken, what say you?
Good afternoon, Joe. You know, I was watching Tuesday night. And you can see clearly the distinction between the Republicans and the left, and there's an aisle that separates them. And when a number of the dignitaries, guests that were there for largely nonpartisan reasons, but, you know, for an issue of interest, I thought I saw a woman stand up a number of times. And lo and behold, sure enough, at lunchtime watching Newsmax, they did say there was a lone Democrat who did stand up.
Oh, I didn't notice it.
Laura Gillen.
Did they identify her?
Yeah. Laura Gillen, 4th District, New York, on Long Island, freshman. Which makes you wonder. Yeah. Which makes you wonder, how would they react if she was made to be a big hero in conservative media?
It might happen.
How would they react?
It might happen. You know, I mean, Slotkin, right? The freshman senator, I think, is she Ohio? I think. No. Where is she from? The Slotkin, right?
She's Michigan.
Michigan. She gave the rebuttal. That's right. The card. So, what was interesting is Trump took Michigan, but she won the Senate seat, but she ran on basically Trump's issues. And she attacked him in the speech, of course. But if you listened, you know, I was like, okay, she's being pretty reasonable, but then she went off the rails a few times. But I think that those on the left, or Democrats that are going to be successful, at least for the foreseeable future, are going to be those that move to the center and move to the common sense. The ones who have to say, yeah, it doesn't matter that Trump is on this position because he's there because it makes sense. It's common sense to be there. And I'm bringing common sense to the office as well. Those Democrats have a chance of keeping seats or winning seats, I think. But if they continue to move to that 20% margin in that ultra left, which they're letting that small percentage of their party dictate the overall party's behavior, they're not going to win nationally for a while, if ever.
To say the least. But I have my doubts. See, I think if the conservative media were to make a big deal about her, she'd be in trouble among her colleagues.
Oh, absolutely. Because the
primary.
Yeah, the left. If remember, Tulsi Gabbard, I think it was Tulsi Gabbard, told the story of Trump's first, and she was Congresswoman, Hawaii, and he got elected, and she went to Trump Tower because if you remember back in 2016 or into 2017, he held court at Trump Tower, right? That was, everybody went there to see him, and she went there to talk to him, and it made sense. A congressperson getting FaceTime with the newly elected president, et cetera, yada, yada. Why wouldn't you? And she said as soon as she left Trump Tower, her phone blew up. And it was all her fellow Democrats chewing her out and saying, why are you going to see Trump? You're humanizing him.
Plus, part of the story you just told, Joe, he was being spied on at the time.
Yes.
So it may have been the intelligence agency that tipped off her to the other Democrats.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And when he said, what was that, Ken?
She may have gone incognito or may not have deliberately gone for people to know. I'm telling you, it's so corrupt.
Well,
I think
again, back, let me on that, your comment about it being spied on. What was interesting, if you remember back to that, when Trump said once publicly, they wiretapped me or wiretap my phones. What did the media focus on? They went after him for using the antiquated term wiretap instead of paying attention to the issue was they were spying. No, we don't, used to be that police or national security, CIA physically would climb a pole somewhere and tap into that wire because that's the only way communication moved. Now it's all air and satellite and that. So they just pull it out of the air. It's actually easier to listen to than it used to. You used to have to physically do something. So they focused on his term opposed to the fact that they were spying on him as candidate Trump, as President-elect Trump. And then they were even monitoring the servers in the White House after he got sworn in. Why hasn't anybody been brought up on treason charges for that? That's not okay.
Treason's a very high bar to cross. And,
charge them.
Think of
let the court figure it out.
A lot of what Trump had during term one was captured. He never had a DOJ that was, or I should say an attorney general who really wanted to take on the opposition. But the tough moment that I had Tuesday, that just, holy smokes, who could have imagined 10 years ago even that Liz Warren would be cheering on an endless war? She got easily goaded with his statement, and she kept cheering after him.
Wait, is he talking about when he said he said about the war, and then he said Pocahontas wants to send it, and she's still clapping?
Right.
I saw that and I go, well, all right, maybe she's being a good sport about it now. I don't know, but I was like, wow, or is she just clueless as to what's going on around her? I don't know. It was crazy.
No, she wants an endless war because she knows it fills the pockets of her party.
Yeah.
They have no morals. They have no principles. They just want power and money. Feed it.
Yeah.
That's it.
True. That's true. All right, Ken, final thought?
No, we just continue to watch this adventure and see what directions it goes.
That's it. All right. Thanks for the call. Greatly appreciate it. Always a good call from Ken. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. You got the remainder of the hour to do that at 508-871-7000. I did want to get on something because I was actually surprised to hear this today. Do you know that we're landing on the moon today? That kind of snuck up on me. But it's a huge moment in space exploration, and it's happening right now. Right? Athena probe is on its way to make history. I know. Hey, guys, we're going back to the moon. Attempting to land near the lunar South Pole, a critical area for NASA's future missions. Trump said, look, he wants us on Mars. So does Elon and beyond. Plant the flag there. But this is a private American company leading the charge on this, not on NASA. NASA's been disbanded as we used to know it. Showing us once again that the innovation and determination are still alive and well in the good old USA here, folks. First private lunar landing at the South Pole. Big deal. Only national space agencies have done that, like NASA or Russia's Roscosmos, China's CNSA. They've successfully landed on the moon. Now, if Athena touches down safely, it will be the first commercial lander to do so, and it probably won't be the last, especially if Elon has anything to say about it, right? But why the South Pole? Well, simple, water. Scientists believe that there are ice deposits in the lunar soil, and Athena is bringing equipment that's going to drill, sample it, analyze for water. And of course, why does that matter? Because water can be drinking water for astronauts, converted into oxygen for breathing. It's H2O. And there is a process to pull the hydrogen out. And even broken down, the hydrogen for the rocket fuel. In other words, finding water on the moon could be a game changer for long-term human exploration or establishing long-term base on the moon as well. And how is she going to land? Well, this isn't a simple drop and pray scenario. The lander will autonomously navigate, analyze terrain, adjust its descent. No real-time human piloting here because of the communication delay. So there's some serious tech work here. So it's all AI that's going to land it. Like I said, the delay, you can't do it like a video game. You can't do it like, the pilots who were in a bunker in Nevada flying drones on the other side of the planet. It's just too long of a delay to get back and forth to the moon. And what's on board of the lander? What's it carrying? A lot of high-tech goodies on that thing, right? Drills to get into the surface to analyze the water. That's the Prime 1 experiment. Grace, they call it. That's the Hopper spacecraft. It's a mini lander that will hop across a crater to explore the shadowed areas. And God knows what we might find in the dark spaces. A map with 2Ps mini rover. That's a self-driving robot to scout the landing site. And a 4G LTE network. Nokia Bell Labs is testing cell service on the moon. What are those roaming charges going to be, man? And of course, laser reflectors, as we did with the Apollo missions. This will help future spacecraft navigate the lunar surface. And that's how a lot of people prove we've been to the moon. They fire the laser, the 2 point whatever seconds, it comes back, and it wouldn't come back if we hadn't been up there to drop the reflectors in the first place. So how long will Athena operate? About 10 days before the lunar night falls, freezes its systems out. But before that, it's to even witness an Earth eclipse from the moon, that's going to be a heck of a view. Intuitive Machines already has more NASA contracts and plans for future missions, providing that private space companies are taking the lead in exploration, folks. So this is real space progress, the kind of thing that gets kids dreaming again and reminds us that American ingenuity is still pushing boundaries. So we'll keep an eye on the landing and see where that brings us. And Elon must be having one hell of a day today. This is a big thing. But this wraps up the Thursday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show at AM 830 WCRN. I'm back Monday at 1 o'clock. This time tomorrow, 1 o'clock Friday, the Carr Brothers come your way. But it's Thursday, so stay tuned for Frankie Boyer. All right, folks. Joe out.